conveniente. Está bien.
Ok.
¿Me cambio o qué?
No, cámbiate así, que se siente el señor Messi ya. Fíjate. Dame sus papeles. Regular session, Nogales Housing Authority Board of Commissioners meeting, 4 p.m. Wednesday, August 28, 2019, City Hall Complex. I call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Clerk?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Please call to the public. Nobody? Okay. Item number 4, housing discussion items. Members of the commissioners, I placed these agenda items on here for the reason that we were getting too many reports from HUD. So, just for your information. Item number 1, discussion and possible direction to staff regarding recent notices of deficiencies and non-compliance with federal regulations with Nogales Housing Authority from Marta Duron, HUD Portfolio Management Specialist. Discussion, you guys want to have discussion on this? Or?
Which other are you referring to?
Well, I'll read a list.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
It's not what we have here.
I don't know if did you give him the 8 points that Marta sent?
No.
And the book of business?
I don't think so, Mayor. I just provided them with.
Oh, here it is. Here it is.
Okay, yeah, okay.
I got it.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, I'll read the list that I received today from Marta, and I provided a bullet list of the issues for today's discussion currently facing NHA. Number 1, it says board reporting.
Mayor?
Yes.
Excuse me, sir. Ms. Duran, when do we call her? Is it present or?
No, we're not going to call her. Are you talking about Marta?
Yes, sir.
No, we're not going to call her.
Not yet. Okay, sir. I have that under.
No, yeah. I think in case we have to go to another meeting, maybe she can be here present.
Okay, sir.
I'd rather have the person present here from the HUD.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Number 1, board reporting. This is number 1. Director failed to report to the governing board regarding book of business. That's one of the issues. Okay? But more importantly, areas non-compliance at high risk. That was part of it too, on number 1. Drive performance sustainability working tool.
Excuse me, Mayor?
Yes.
What are you referring to now? Because I'm not following.
We don't see.
Oh, we don't have
No,
what you're referring to.
we don't have it. This is all in the packet that John gave you. So I'm going to read the 8 bullet points, and then we'll go into this one here, and then we'll go into. You want to get a copy of this?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we need a
Lisa,
copy.
could you make a
It's
copy
easier.
of this for me?
No, there's another one.
Okay. As soon as we get that, we'll follow it.
So we can follow it.
Okay. But it basically refers into the whole packet that you received.
Do you guys have what we're looking at? Would somebody get them a copy so they can follow along? Mr. Kissinger, would you get them a copy of those 2 individuals so they can follow along with what? Mike. Or give them 1 copy and they can share it. He's not here. I remember this.
Mr. Mayor, did Martha Luong say she would be available at a later date, or what did?
Yeah, well, we asked her if she could be here today, and she said she wasn't able to, but if we wanted to, she could be by phone. And we could reach her by phone. But what we can do is I'll read through the whole thing here, and if we do want her, we can call her
Give her a call,
at
yeah.
the time, and then if we have questions to ask her.
Where is that?
We're back in the same place we were before with the other director now. It's the same, I'm reading the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. If I had to tell you, I said, tell you no. I don't think he's interested. Some people say, take it. Other people say, that he may not be, that, okay. Everybody has a different reality. Oh, well, as far as I know.
Thank you, Lisa. Who's got my copy? Lisa, you have my copy? The one that's highlighted?
Why would I give that up?
Thank you. Dame otra, la Lisa. Thank you.
We're ready, Mayor.
As soon as I get my highlighted
Oh, you
copy.
didn't get it?
Lisa left it on the printer.
Okay.
La más calientita, Lisa. Thank you, Lisa. Sí. Sí, yeah, they all got it.
Mayor,
Yes.
can I just ask if you would please have the two people from the Housing Authority introduce themselves and what they do there so that I'm familiar?
Okay, perfect. Go ahead.
Jerry Mama, I do all the accounting and audit, everything that has to do with
Finances?
finance.
In practice, I'm the housing inspector for Nogales County.
Okay, thank you.
What was your first name?
Martin.
Martin?
Okay, well, now you have the list. If you go down through the 8, you can see right after the first 2 or 3 words, it says director failure. Director failure. Director failure. And you can see, so that I don't have to read the whole thing, you can basically see, from contractor services to capital fund program, failed to submit it and the amount of time. And if you go down to number 7, HUD reporting, director failure to respond to requests timely, meet deadlines, comply with operating requirements and regulations, director failure to submit agency plan by due date January 15, 2019. Then you got an opportunity to submit, they submitted it May 9th, 2019. And then it says director failure to report to HUD, review and provide required documentation on June 26th. That's 6 months later. Okay, and then operations director failure to address the agency's risk, performance, and overall performance issues is going on. Director failure to seek training from third-party vendors, other public housing agencies, and shadowing staff in the day-to-day operations. It's 8 points here, and nothing but director failure.
But,
And-
Mayor,
Yes, go ahead.
but one important thing, too, I concur with the comment, but another important thing is on number 3, where it says director submission without board review and approval. That's
Yes.
extremely important. You know?
Yes.
We're the ones who approve those things.
Yes, sir.
Before that. And
Yes.
that, we're not even being taken into consideration.
No, we're not. So if you go to this one right here, which is Book of Business,
Yes,
the report, okay, you look at that one, and that basically falls right behind this one, the face sheet. And you follow on that one, and it, you know, it tells you basically everything that was not being done or was being done wrong, okay? And it goes down just continuously all the way down, and it gives you the dates. Like on number 3, Director Padilla reported NHA office remodel and addition project was completed April 9, 2019, but failed to report the variances in the scope of work from community room to office spaces. It was supposed to be a community room. The money that they used it and they built offices. I have this packet right here. This one that you don't have, but I got this. These are all problems with apartments. Okay? That need to be repaired. They need to be fixed. It's just building up. It's building up one after the other. And the thing is that the lack of experience, lack of knowledge, basically that's what I get from HUD, that we don't have the proper person for the position. And so it's going to continue building up. It's not going to get any better at all. And I've gotten reports about the gymnasium, problems with the gymnasium, and nothing was taken care of in there. And not only the gymnasium, like I showed you, the majority of the residents. So it's, I don't know how far this has to go, you know, for as commissioners, we need to address these problems. We can't, yes, sir.
Mr. Massey, may I ask Mr. Massey?
Yes, go ahead.
Right now, Mr. Massey, I would feel more comfortable, since we're talking, to move into an executive session to talk about personnel.
Well, I understand your sense of discomfort, and however, we're not able to comply with the open meeting law regarding executive sessions because it requires a 24 hours notice to the person in writing, and he's not here this week.
So we do everything.
Yes. So it is a matter of public concern, and so it is appropriate for a public meeting.
So then now I feel comfortable. Now that you say that. I feel. Mayor, may I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead, Councilman.
Terry, could you just step up here? I want to ask you a question. It has to do with finances. You know, what was your last name? Ibarra, Mrs. Ibarra. Here it says that in 2017, I'm looking at number 8 on this red sheet. Did you get that? No. I'm looking at number 8. And it says right there, you know, we were very disappointed last year because in 2017, number 8, as you see that in the middle between 8 and 9, it says there that Nogales Housing Authority 2017 CFP grant was recaptured by HUD. That was about $700,000 that HUD recaptured. So, and it says here then that you're not meeting the expenditures, because here it says at the top there, the NHS has not expended its remaining 28 funds and will and will not meet HUD's deadline. NHS has not submitted a compliant 2019-23 5-year action plan.
Arriba.
Number 8.
Number 8.
No, it's
Yeah, he's looking at this one
Oh,
right
okay.
here. This one.
Can you see that we're going to do, my question is based on what I've just explained here, Ms. Ibarra. Do you think that are in compliance, is HUD gonna come back and recapture more funds from us?
No, I don't think so. Right now, Mr. Padilla, actually published the 5-year plan, and it has to be 45 days, right? 45 days, and he will have a meeting next month.
Mr. Chair, regarding
Go ahead.
the submission to HUD, the question from Commissioner Varona, that he didn't, director submission without board review and approval,
Where are you at?
on the findings here.
Oh, what number?
Number 3. On your question regarding that the director didn't submit for review and approval to the board. I asked him about that, and he said that the only reason he was sending it to HUD is so she could skim through it and see if everything was in line. He wasn't submitting for approval or anything. Before he came back and sent it up for the 45-day publication. But I know that when we talked to Martha about that, she says, well, he wasn't supposed to send it anyway. He said, we don't review anything before submission, so
That's what they told me.
he shouldn't have been submitting to the HUD office. He should have done it, after the 45-day review and after board approval.
After board approval.
Right.
Yeah, that's correct. So, can I get back? So then you don't think that we're in jeopardy of HUD recapturing any funds for this coming this
No,
year?
not at all.
And how do you interpret this thing here, or what they're saying here? Because this falls in there that... Okay, so my question, Ms. Ibarra, is how are we doing financially there? Because I see that, do I interpret number 8 as being that we have some financial concerns within the housing department?
No, we don't. Right now, we only have one grant open, which is the 2018, and we've been using for repairs. So the 5-year plan is for the 1923 funding, which is the one that was published for 45 days.
Got it.
So it will be presented to council at the meeting. I'm not sure what day. He requested.
After the
But
45 day.
after the 45 days, which will be around the second week in September.
Okay.
It should have been presented to us before the 45 days?
No, it has to be published first. For
First
45
public
days,
and then to us?
And then
It's on Wednesday, the 18th.
the 18th. Okay. And then after that, it's sent to HUD for their review and approval too.
Okay. And, I'm sorry, what was your last name? Mr. Hodges, and here it says that we're not meeting 100% of all the units being rented out and everything, because is it, you do the repairs, and how come we're not meeting these targets, like occupancy rate 221 of 226? It says HUD's target 100%, minimum threshold 98. Why aren't we meeting those? I mean, you guys are there all the time.
It's a part of the maintenance that will speak on their behalf. It's, some repairs can be done quickly. Some of those to be remodeled. The whole house is anywhere from tiles to paint to full interior. And being understaffed right now with the maintenance personnel, there's 4 maintenance guys for 226 units, and the homes are about 50 years old, or getting over 50 years old. So that's why as the 5-year plan, we have a lot of things that we want to improve that I have suggested on there as a housing inspector. Roofs, changing out AC coolers, doing different accommodations for the people. And it's just little things like that that we've been doing as far as not complying 100%. Each month we have anywhere from 2 to 5, sometimes even 10 units that get unoccupied. And we only have 4 different maintenance staff that, plus the maintenance supervisor, that can remodel the units. So it's just the time frame between how they can do it, we can do it. Takes anywhere from sometimes a week to sometimes over a month.
Well, Mr. Hawkins, we did, correct me if I'm wrong, but originally the maintenance staff was 6 people, and HUD came back and said that you've always had 6 people. They came back and they said their analysis indicates that we should only have 4 people. So that's why you have 4 people according to their analysis. And when you use the word understaffed, according to what HUD told us, you are not understaffed.
It's not lying.
So how, I'm just trying to get a grasp of what you guys are doing, because you're telling me you're understaffed. HUD is telling us we're not understaffed, because we questioned that at the last meeting, Mayor.
Yes.
Why are you cutting us down by 2 people? And that was the response. But when you, Mr. Hawkins, when you keep saying understaffed, that means you don't have enough workers, but HUD is telling us you do have enough workers, so why are you falling behind?
That would be maintenance.
Well,
But
who's maintenance?
Maintenance would be Mr. Grijalva.
Is he here?
He actually just showed, yes.
Okay, can you answer that question, Mr. Grijalva? Does he speak English, Mayor?
Very little, but he can.
Yeah, I speak so.
You want to ask him the question?
Yes. ¿Quieres? Verás, ven al podium, por favor.
Excuse me.
Thank you.
No, just before you leave.
Oh, yes.
It says here now, you had 221 of 226 units rented,
Uh-huh.
which is 97.8%.
Yes.
So you were basically 0.2% off.
Exactly.
So it could have been rounded off, right? And then on the voucher program, you've got 169 of 172 vouchers out,
Yes.
which does meet the 98%.
Yes.
That's exactly 98%. And then what is this where it says 94.85 of $1 million budget expended? What do they? Were you supposed to have more than that expended by that time, or what?
That question I would not be able to answer. I'm not sure if finance can answer that one. 94%. Yeah, that's because we're not looking at that. I apologize. I have that.
So
Go
the,
ahead.
I don't have any.
It's just a
On that with the yellow marked on number 5. See where it says 94.85% of 1 million. Why is that on there? Should it have been more? Should it have been less? What should it have been?
Or those funds they want to capture.
Actually, this is a question our Section 8 personnel will need to answer, because it has to do with vouchers for Section 8. I don't have any info with me.
You don't handle that as part of the
No,
finances? It's a separate component.
it's a separate.
And who's in charge of Section 8?
Marlene, Armenta.
If that's the case, you have to bring all housing up here to the meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, we didn't bring any information because we didn't know exactly.
No, we understand.
According to the agenda, we just came in.
Right. This isn't I got you. We just want to get information so we have clarity.
It's understandable.
But I mean, we can provide information as long as you give us like, what is it that you need?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, go ahead, Councilman.
Just a small comment on regarding the question on the units that there's I can't remember how many it was. When they fall behind on units, like Mr. Hawkins said, that there's some units that are really worn down, that they have to replace the ceilings, the sheetrock, the floors. You can put those units offline. You need to call HUD and say, we need to put these units offline because it's going to take more than 21 days, because HUD allows you 21 days to complete the unit, to have it ready to rent. So if you tell them, we have 3 or 4 units that need to go offline, they take them off that list, so that you can still comply with a 98% rate that they want.
and all you have to do is call them. And as far as, you know, when you're low on, when you don't have enough personnel, you can contract some of the work out. Like if you don't have enough people to do the coolers, and you know, it's taking time away from them fixing the units, you can hire somebody, contract somebody to come in and do the coolers for you. That would be an option, instead of, you know, overworking the personnel.
How about that, Commissioner? When you were the director, I was the mayor at the time. And I never got reports like this. And you had about the same amount of staff, you had the same amount of units, you haven't built any more units. So there's a deficiency right now. There's no ifs or buts about it. There's a deficiency. Be it with the director, be it with the whole housing program, there is a deficiency. This is too much. I remember, you know, the 4 years that I was mayor and you were the housing director, you had monthly meetings with us to report to us exactly what was going on, be it right, be it wrong. You followed your reports, you submitted everything. We never had that problem. And my concern right now is not with staff that do the work, and I don't think you're understaffed. I'll tell you why. We manage a 56 unit complex. 2 people. My wife stays in the office, and I'm the other guy. 56 units. Okay? So, and we do all the work. Very little of it is contracted out because we're not allowed. So you do have enough people to do it. You just gotta, the people have to do doing it. That's why it says right here on this page on the report, where it says that the score 70 out of 100 is the score that the housing got, or the director got. And if you notice where it says physical, 24 of a maximum of 40, that means that physically the director or whoever is in charge is not on top of things. Okay, so this is the concern I have. And as commissioners, well, we can't allow this. Not as the housing's been around for so many years that we just can't allow it to happen. You know, from one director to another director, and it's not going up. 1 year in the position, and it has not improved in 1 year. And the part that I mean throws everything out of whack, and you start looking at these numbers and start looking at everything, and then the expenditure on the office, and we have all this work to do at the gymnasium and everything. Where did that come from? Where did that come from? That is not the proper way of a director, performance, and staff of housing when you're supposed to take care of the residents of those units. Number one are the residents, not you, not the director, not anybody. It's the residents. That's the reason we have a housing, because there's people with needs. And you're supposed to take care of people with needs. You know, your needs, if you're having a nice office, is okay, but you had an office. Spending that money on that and having HUD question it to me in the office and the commissioners, you know, it looks like we authorized all that misspending. There's no accountability. No hay contabilidad. You guys are there, ustedes están allí, viven allí. Okay. There's no accountability. This is not going to go on anymore. I'm sorry. It's not going to go on anymore. You know, the worst thing to happen is for the federal government to decide one day to start cutting back on housing, and then decide, oh, let's start with Nogales, because they're not doing their job. And then what's going to happen? What's going to happen when that happens? and we have all these people. You think out of our budget, we're gonna be able to take care of that? It's imposible. And who's gonna have egg in their face? Commissioners, according to the bylaws, the buck starts here. It's our problem. And then honestly, I don't think it's just a matter of just discussing item by item by item. It's highlighted right here. 70 out of 100. And I can go down and go down and go down, you know, and I don't know. I don't know where we're gonna go with this. But, you know, Councilman, you have something to say?
Yes, Mayor, I do. And that is that I totally agree with you with this. As a matter of fact, the points that the mayor raises are the same ones. They're identically the same ones that we discussed the previous time. So there's no improvement whatsoever on this. And I agree, and I think that the proper word is accountability. Very discouraging for the commissioners, for the mayor, for the entire community to be in this situation. And I totally agree with you, Mayor. We definitely have to do something. If it's drastic, then let's go there. And going back to this particular point, but a point that I think that we need to have the personnel here. In our city council meetings, we need to have the department heads there. We need to have the people some accountability also for the training. And here we go. Well, what did you learn? If they go to Vegas or wherever, I think we give them a report. I think this report that for the retreat that we went to is very thorough on what we did the entire day and what we learned and how we spend our day. That's accountability for us. Yes. They need to be accountable, especially the directors, when they go to a conference, to come back and report to us what they learned. And not to mention their credentials. If they're properly credentialed to be in that position. And that goes back with our HR. Do we have a person that's qualified? And here's where that situation with the years, I don't care if you've been here 30 or 40 years. Do you have the proper credentials to be in that position? Doesn't matter if I wasn't teaching 40 years or 50 years. Did I have my master's degree to go on to the next level? Do I have my doctorate to go into the next level? And you earn that title. So we need to revamp that and make that very clear, Mayor.
Thank you. Go ahead, Commissioner. I don't know.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say a comment on Commissioner Rojas' comments that I do agree with him. You know, last year when we lost the $700,000,
It's a big hit.
it's a big hit, and that's we took away from those people that you allude to, and we returned the money for somebody else to use it instead of us using the money for our own people. And I'm not going to go through it again.
No.
I'm in concurrence with your comments, but the only thing I have a question for Mr. Massey, if I may.
Go ahead.
Just to make sure, Mr. Massey, that I'm okay here with this. Us as commissioners and the city manager, what do we have over discipline, hiring and firing of, let's say, the director? Is it the decision of the city manager, or can this commissioners take action?
May I first?
Go ahead, Mr. Massey.
Commissioners, that is a great question, Commissioner Barona, because this is exactly the tension between the federal regulations and the city charter. The bylaws that were prepared last year, I wrote them to follow exactly the federal regulations. Now, and the federal regulations do say that the commissioners are essentially, as the mayor said, the buck stops here and the NHA director works for you. That is a deviation from what the charter says. The charter says the directors work for the city manager, and then you give direction to the city manager. And frankly, you know, I acknowledge that tension, but I think we can work in this area. So consistent with the limitations on the charter, the better way to go, since the 2004 reorganization of NHA, which made it very, very clear, and of course that's restated in last year's bylaws, is NHA is a department within the city, and the department director, NHA director, does report to the city manager. So if it's necessary, you can go ahead and take action. But my preference, my strong preference from a legal standpoint, so that we can also live within the charter, is give direction to city manager, and essentially as a supervisor of the NHA director to say, take care of this. And I think that's all that needs to be done at this point. If that doesn't happen, and proper action doesn't look like it's moving in the right direction, then I think it would be appropriate for the commissioners to step in and start taking, you know, specific action. But at this point, that would not be my recommendation.
Thank you.
Go ahead, go on,
Mr. Massey, on the last director, what protocol or procedure did the city follow
With
to terminate that?
Oh, okay. So on that one, because of the substantial compliance issues, a decision was made by the city manager that we need to move in a new direction. The expectations were not being met. He had been given enough time to learn, and it wasn't going the right direction. So to answer your question, we quickly moved to termination, but we brought in an outside attorney, and we came up with a termination agreement. So there was some funds that were used to make that happen and to resolve it without any follow-on litigation.
So, Mr. Mayor, if I may,
Go ahead, Commissioner.
based on what Mr. Massey legal opinion is right now, and my support of the statements from the mayor and Commissioner Rojas, I think it's just prudent for us to start at step one as recommended by legal counsel and direct our city manager that we want a response to this. We want this thing corrected within 30 days, and we want him to come back with how it was corrected, even if it includes replacing people or whatever. But we want statements on everything that's listed by HUD. That's the only thing that I see, but it's a proper recourse. Now, if we're not happy then Mr. Massey gave us step two, where we could step in at that point. So I think we should accept Mr. Massey's legal opinion and start with step one.
I agree with you on that. But you know, I look at these items and they're sensitive. Some of them.
Everybody.
You know,
here concurs with
everything is so past due.
Yeah.
That I don't foresee it getting any better after 1 year in the position, and not even attempting to better these problems. You know, these are reports. These are items that HUD needs to have on the records too, that they have complied with. And so I myself, I want to I don't know, this is my, I'd rather direct the acting city manager and Mr. Massey to not only remedy this, but to have us get somebody that is qualified to help us in this, because all we need is somebody that is certified to put us up to date, you know, but, you know, I'm not comfortable with this. You know, let me tell you something, that I have to tell you this, is that I'm very uncomfortable. I brought it to the city manager's attention 6 months ago. 6 months ago, I knew about these things. No, not you. Not you. I didn't say acting, I said city manager. And I brought it to his attention, and thinking that maybe we'd take action or remedy something, and nothing, until the budget. Until the budget, that I had the director and the finance director and the city manager in my office, when I questioned some of these things, questioned their budget, questioned the budget that was basically not presented to us during the budget process that we had already discussed here, and was for some reason or another never mentioned to us, and it was presented by the director, and we voted on it, and there was a big item there about salaries and everything, and I questioned that, and what really, and excuse my French, pisses me off, is that when I was told, he stepped to the plate. He stepped to the plate, he said. Okay, so stepping to the plate means getting all this paperwork from HUD, and nothing but a bunch of failures and a lot of work that needs to be done that is not being done. That's not stepping to the plate, because anybody can step to the plate. Doesn't mean you're going to make a home run. You can get striked out. All right, and that's my disappointment, is that I took it to the city manager. I followed the procedure that we have to do as a city manager form of government, Mr. Barona. I took it to him, and he ignored me for this. And then I started getting all this documentation from HUD. And when I started getting it from HUD, I was going, well, somebody is not very happy. And why they were sending it to me? Because I'm the chair of the commissioners, and they said, well, maybe the commissioners need to do something. Okay, so our remedy to this is, let's get somebody in this position that knows what they're doing, and my direction to staff is let's look for that person, and let's stop with this. We have to do this.
Mr. Mayor, could you please ask the resident commissioners for their opinion on this subject?
Yes, I will. ¿Inglés o español? Español. Tu opinión.
Pues sí, necesitamos meter y coordinar con todo el personal y nosotros para poder ayudar más en el trabajo de allí que nos ha hecho, y posiblemente se ocupe de más cosas y más gente. Creo que le faltan 3 gentes ya, y también por eso está atrasando mucho el trabajo.
Pues según el HUD, no necesitan más gente.
No, que esta gente.
Ya.
Pues necesita también involucrar a la gente, ¿no? Del principio de que te otorguen una casa de esas, hablar con ellos, decirles, ¿sabes qué? Tienes que tener cuidado de tener...
No, sí, yo te entiendo lo que le tienes que decir a la gente que lo va a rentar. Yo te entiendo. Yo tengo 24 años rentando.
Ajá.
Yo lo que quiero saber de ustedes, ¿qué piensan, cómo se han manejado las cosas con el director y esas cosas? Eso es lo que quiero saber. Porque en la agenda, tiene la agenda.
Sí.
Ok, de eso estamos hablando, de lo de la agenda.
Okay,
No de que la persona que va a ser o las personas que viven ahí. Yo no quiero saber de las personas que viven ahí. Esas personas están viviendo ahí porque tienen necesidades de vivir allí. Ahora, yo lo que quiero saber, ¿por qué tenemos que agarrar una lista de tantas cosas que no hay contabilidad y no hay algo que pueda decir uno está afuera para que de veras lo vean y que se estén haciendo las cosas? Contéstenme a sus pies.
pues yo creo que no les están dando seguimiento, no están poniendo bastante atención porque cada vez a mí me mandan en mi teléfono todo lo que mandó la señora Durán y miré un chorro de cosas, entonces pues alguien no está haciendo su trabajo.
Sí, exactamente, sí, como dijo Jesús, ¿no? Pienso que está faltando más trabajo ahí de Trompadilla, ¿no? Supuestamente no hizo su declaración primero para venir aquí a informar lo que iba a hacer, ni informarlo, editarlo a un periódico, no lo hizo, entonces se brincó todo eso. Se hizo una oficina que no estaba autorizada, que se había dicho que no se hiciera, se hizo. Y cosas que se ocupan más, pues no se está haciendo. Entonces, sí, algo no está pasando bien ahí.
Pues eso es lo que quería oír, porque actualmente es lo que estamos discutiendo y es lo que nos presentan a nosotros, de que se les dice no y lo hacen de todos modos. Es que tienes que tener el conocimiento de qué estás haciendo tú ahí. ¿Estás para trabajar para ti o para trabajar por los habitantes, la gente que vive ahí? Los residentes, ¿estás para trabajar para los residentes? Okay. ¿Sí o no? Sí. ¿Ustedes viven ahí?
Sí.
Esperan que esté bien su vivienda, ¿no?
Claro que sí.
Esperan que todas esas cosas. Quieres tener un buen gimnasio para los niños, el cuarto de las computadoras, todo eso que esté bien. Eso le comentaron, ya van varias personas que le hablan a la regidora de las computadoras. Los niños quieren tener también la oportunidad, pero no, en vez de utilizarlos y usarlos para eso, usan para otra cosa. Y eso es lo que yo no estoy conforme.
Ha habido muchas trabas también respecto a eso de las computadoras. Las computadoras se arreglaron, son computadoras ya viejas, y creo que una persona de la biblioteca iba a dar tutorías en las tardes, no sé si se está dando, pero el año pasado se hicieron, se aprovecharon y la gente estuvo muy a gusto con eso. El gimnasio, regularmente la gente de allí del housing no lo utiliza más bien la gente de afuera. La gente de afuera, y esto es lo que es el reclamo que he hecho todo el tiempo yo. Aquí en el estado, cuando estaba Héctor, cuando estaba el Alex y todos ellos, ¿no? Entonces, no se da el uso necesario para la gente. La gente no sabe que el gimnasio es para ellos. No lo sabe.
¿Y no les pueden mandar un informatorio para que sepan que es de ellos el gimnasio?
Es por eso que le comento que al inicio de que cuando te toca una casa debe decir, mira, estos son tus beneficios, eso es lo que las instalaciones de aquí de housing, y tienes también derechos como obligaciones. Porque ¿qué pasa? La gente no le gusta limpiar un papel, levantar un papel, perdón, o hacer cualquier cosa. ¿Por qué? Porque es culpa de ellos, ellos lo tienen que hacer. También tenemos que ayudar. Y no se le dice, la gente hace lo que quiere. Al cabo es que los del housing tienen que hacerlo. Y le dejamos toda la carga a ellos. Entonces yo también digo, ahí tenemos que coordinar.
No, para eso están ustedes. Ustedes representan a la gente que vive ahí.
Claro está, y en las medidas que nosotros hacemos, pero nosotros tenemos más apertura. Cuando menos en mi caso, vamos a tener un torneo este día 13, de 14 y 15, que vamos a invitar a todos los del housing a hacer un torneo de básquetbol ahí en el gimnasio para motivar un poco. Nosotros nos juntamos los días martes a las 9 de la mañana, invitamos a gente y no va. Somos los mismos 8 que estamos yendo todo el tiempo. ¿Por qué? Porque no les dicen a ellos que hay un comité para ver todos estos problemas. No les dicen.
Que no tienen que prestar tiempo también gente ahí.
La vez pasada yo les dije, la gente va a otros lugares, va a la perrera, a la bombera, a la escuela, donde en verdad lo harán, no sé. En cambio, yo les he dicho, díganles que por favor
presten el tiempo allí.
Allí, y que vengan con nosotros los martes a las 9 de la mañana en el gimnasio, ahí nos juntamos y vemos los problemas. Inclusive tenemos un evento para para diciembre, queremos hacer una buena posada. Ya hicimos el Día del Niño, estuvo magnífico, tuvimos más de 250 personas ahí, usted nos ayudó. Entonces, ¿qué pasa? Nosotros estamos motivando, pero hasta donde podemos. Más para adelante no podemos porque tampoco no vamos a ir a hacer el trabajo de ellos.
Yo en la sección 8, pues yo vivo en la sección 8, allí diferente porque yo le rento a una persona privada, no es por parte de las
viviendas.
Entonces, pues yo estoy bien contento porque señor, cualquier cosa que yo le digo que está faltando a la casa, va inmediatamente y me repara. Martín me acaba de hacer la inspección, todo funcionó, o sea, al 100. Nosotros, la verdad, no tenemos problema.
Sí.
Entonces,
Nosotros
aquí yo
también
creo que-
tenemos sección 8.
Yo creo que lo que está pasando aquí es que interiormente en la dirección, ahí como está funcionando, está mal. No le están dando, no están ya al 100 revisando todo lo que se debe revisar.
Bueno, muchas gracias. ¿no? Sí, pero la cosa que yo creo que lo vamos a tener que agendar nomás para que sepan en el futuro. Esta es una recomendación mía, los comisionados no saben ni de esto, ni ustedes tampoco, pero lo van a ver agendado. Uno del edificio ese que hicieron de oficina, el más grande, posiblemente sea el cuarto de la computadora de los niños, para que tengamos las computadoras allá adentro y ahí van los niños a estudiar, a hacer su tarea, en vez de irse a meter en un gimnasio en el segundo piso o el piso de abajo.
Sí,
Eso es lo que debíamos hacer, para que de veras se vean los dejar que el dinero se usó para algo responsable para la comunidad.
Correcto.
Eso debía de ser.
Nada más también como le pido es cambiar las computadoras, ya están viejitas.
No, no te mortifiques, las computadoras se van a cambiar,
Sí, sí,
pero eso es lo que debíamos de hacer. ¿Ok? Y lo que les recomiendo a ustedes dos que están ahí, no nomás hagas eventos, haz sesiones y decirle a las gentes, verás, vengan, te aseguro que todos tienen inquietudes.
claro.
Haz una sesión y dile, ¿sabes qué? Escríbame las inquietudes, les vamos a hablar de eso. Te aseguro que llenas el cuarto, porque las inquietudes, todos las tenemos.
Sí.
Pero si les dices que vas a tener un torneo de básquet y no te gusta el básquet, no vas a ir. Pero te aseguro que hay puertas quebradas, ventanas quebradas, necesitamos de pintar, el aire no sirve, el piso, alguna cosa hay inquietudes para que las reporten. Aunque no sé si las vayan a hacer, porque aquí están todas que no se han hecho. Hay una que otra que sí se hizo. Esto es mucho. Esto es mucho. Y lo que pasa, y se lo vuelvo a decir, va a llegar el día que nos los van a quitar. No va a haber housing. ¿Ok? Lo están recortando en todos los Estados Unidos, despacito como lo ven. Y el día que lo recorten, no va a haber housing. Y nosotros, como comisionarios y la ciudad, no tiene el dinero para poder hacer, a nivelar los costos que pone el gobierno federal a los de housing. Para decir, sabes que tú pagas 100 y nosotros vamos a pagar los otros 400. No tenemos, se nos acaba el dinero. Apenas tenemos dinero para mantener la ciudad, no tenemos para housing. Necesitamos al gobierno federal y necesitamos al gobierno federal que esté respaldándonos 100%, no que nos esté mandando papeles así porque hay tantas deficiencias que no se están completando. Muchas gracias por sus comentarios.
I think, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
I think that the two resident commissioners explained from personal experience since they're there, just supports the statements made by the mayor and Commissioner Rojas, substantiates those statements. The only thing is that, with your permission, Mayor, I'm ready to make a motion, but I want to ask Mr. Massey a question. Mr. Massey, on my motion that I want to make, I basically want to say that to authorize the city manager to look over this report and come back to us with full recommendations on the report and on personnel. Come back with a recommendation to us within 30 days. But I don't want to include anything in there, the concern of to terminate anybody. Let him come back to us, or if I put that, would that taint the process?
I don't think, Mr. Mayor and members of the commission, I don't think it would necessarily taint the process, but I wouldn't say more than on a general level. Just say, including possible, change at the leadership level or something like that, and leave it at the discretion of the city manager for now. And then exactly 30 days from now, we'll see where we're at.
Okay, and Mayor, because it's also troubling for the organization, this should be very troubling for the organization, that in 17 and 18, you were recognized as a trouble performer. And right now, as of the end of October of this year, you've just gone up to basically a standard performer.
We're still high risk though.
Yes,
High
yes,
risk.
no, but it's just a standard, but my point is this. We've been in the business there for what, 50 years? Why are we in this position with all of this experience doing it for so long? I mean, it should come natural to everybody there of doing this. We shouldn't be in this position, and that's what's so troubling, because if one thing that wasn't mentioned is, if the funds are recaptured, and for us to sustain the housing department, that we have to take away from our capital budget, which we don't have the funds to do that, then this room will be full. And you know who they're going to blame? Right here. All 7 of us. Because they're going to say one simple thing. You knew about it, and you didn't do anything about it. So, Mr. Rojas.
Mr. Rojas wanted to say something
Okay.
before you make the motion. Go ahead.
I wanted to say something just because, Dr. Barona, Commissioner Barona, you brought something up. I think the mayor brought something up. And this is what troubles me, because the mayor basically had to, how do I want to say this? Basically gave them the floors for them to say something. Other than that, commissioners, you remain quiet. There's some things that you're observing and that you're aware of, but you need to speak up. You need to let us know. You need to share that. Now, at the same time, I think that staff is probably seeing certain things as well, that they're observing, that they're looking at. And that comes from your statement, Commissioner Barona, that the experience is there. They're seeing it. However, for whatever reasons, and maybe we need to be clear on that directions, they need to speak up. They need to not be afraid or intimidated or threatened to speak up. But obviously, there's a lack of communication there. And I think that that needs to be discussed as well. And when I heard you making your comments, that kind of sparked that. So I thought that I would share that.
That's well stated.
Mr. Chair, before you make your motion, I do understand that we want to give the acting city manager to look into the report, but I don't think there's going to be a solution of this just by a report. Honestly, I don't. It's too long. It's a year. It's too long. Make sure that your motion has the verbiage that Mr. Massey requested in reference to the director. Okay?
In generic terms, right?
Yes.
Broad, yes.
That would be my recommendation.
Yes, because
Well,
we have.
I was planning on doing
Yes,
it.
because we have to look at it that way, because there's
Well,
I don't know.
I agree.
I don't want to say more about it because I don't want to speak about it
I think
personally.
if you look, Mayor, at our last retreat, we all said that we needed to have a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
And I want the city manager to understand, we have a sense of urgency on this matter.
Right.
It should fly to the top. We're very concerned of this because we are not going to be slapped around. So we want this to be taken care of.
Thank you very much.
Mayor,
Yes.
before I make my motion, I think Commissioner Bojorquez had something.
I just have a comment. And you're right, Dr. Varona and Mayor, the buck stops here. On the very first item of the sustainable worksheet, it points to the Board of Commissioners. It says governing board members are not knowledgeable concerning their oversight roles and housing authority
Right.
responsibilities. But if we don't have any information regarding what's going on at the housing authority,
We're
we
not gonna
can't
be
do anything
knowledgeable.
about it. So we need to have monthly meetings, or even if, if the director wants to meet with us twice a month to report, deficiencies and stuff, what they're doing with the deficiencies, that makes us knowledgeable. Because if we don't get that information, we'll never be knowledgeable.
I have an open door policy. The director and the city manager could easily come to my office and say, you know what, we need a one item, I just want to report to the commissioners. We've been together for going on 9 months. We've had 2 meetings. One was a basic meeting that had very little information, and the other one was a budget. I think we need to be on top, especially when the sky is falling. Say, you know what, this is happening, but it's not, it's being hidden from us. That's the way I look at it. This is being hidden from us, and it's coming from another way. It's not coming from our housing department here. It's coming from Phoenix. It's coming from the federal government, and that's what I don't like. And that's where, kind of like Commissioner Rojas said, it's really looking like we're ignoring it. We're like, and I don't want that. No, I don't want that to happen to us. And then we need to take this. So, Commissioner.
Yes, and just, if I may piggyback or make a footnote on Commissioner Bojorquez's comment, please, commissioners, please don't forget that we all have until October 30th to pass the lead the way.
Yes.
I don't want somebody to come up and say, hey, you were a violation because you didn't take that.
Yeah.
So please make sure that everybody takes that
Yeah.
lead the way. Mr. Mayor, motion to authorize the city manager to give us a detailed report on the report that we addressed here, that were handed out to us by the city manager here, the concerns that we have expressed, and to make the appropriate recommendation of personnel to this board of what your recommendations have been and what has been implemented. Is that broad enough there, Mr. Manson?
I think that covers the bases very well.
Okay.
I'll second that, Mayor.
Any more discussion?
Call for the question.
Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much.
Motion to adjourn, Mayor?
Yes. Second that. This means adjourned.